What is your name?
Chief Warrant Officer Taylor, James Taylor, United States Navy, retired.
What branch of the military were you serving in?
I served in the United States Navy, retired as a CW04, Chief Warrant Officer.
Did you enlist, or were you...
I enlisted, and I retired as an officer.
Were any of your family members in the military?
Yes. My sons, son-in-laws, my brother.
How old were you when you went into the military?
18.
How long did you serve in the military?
30 years.
Were you married when you went into the military?
No.
Did you serve in a war?
On the winter, yes.
Which one?
From Vietnam to Desert Shield, 1960 to 89. All the conflicts.
Were you in Vietnam for a long time?
I had 3 tours.
Did you see a lot of fighting?
We took part.
What was it like when you came home?
Good. Glad to get home.
Did you receive support from any organizations?
Yes, I did. I was in San Diego, California. Very strong Navy, very strong Marine Corps, very strong military. I didn't have any problems personally. I had a few problems in other parts of the country, San Francisco and the East Coast and stuff like that, but San Diego we were fine. It was all families.
Do you feel that everyone should get to serve in the military?
Excuse me?
Do you think that everybody should get to serve in the military?
Yes, I do.
Do you participate in any veteran organizations?
I'm a life member of the American Legion, the VFW, the Disabled American Veterans, the Fleet Reserve Association, the 40 and 8 Navy League. Yes, I do. I'm also on the board of directors of the Madison County Veteran Assistance Commission here locally. I'm involved with the Banner program here in Granite City. I do deal quite a bit with the veterans.
Did you receive any medals?
Yes.
Which ones did you receive?
I didn't bring that information. I did not get a Purple Heart. I didn't want one. You get a Purple Heart, that means you got hurt or you got killed. I didn't want one.
What are some memories that you have of the Army?
Excuse me?
What are some memories that you have from the Army?
I have none. I'm Navy. Navy. Young man, 30 years in the Navy. I was 6 different ships, 20 years at sea, 12 deployments. I did everything from working in the engine rooms and fire rooms at 120, 130 degree temperatures. I was a drill instructor for 3 years. I have a lot of different memories. I mean, I could sit there and talk for the next 3 hours just on one command. I don't think we want to do that.
Name some of the ships that you served.
My first ship was the USS Morton, destroyer DD 948. My second ship was the USS Bradley, destroyer escort. Now they're called frigates, 1041. My third ship was the USS Dixon, AES 37. My fourth ship was the USS Horn. Another ship was USS Robinson. USS Horn was a guided missile cruiser. USS Robinson was a destroyer guided missile. And my last ship was a USS Cape Cod with a destroyer repair ship.
What did you do in any of your free time?
My free time? When I had it on board ship, I just tried to get rest, sleep, watch different commands, different things.
Where were you when the war ended?
Excuse me?
Where were you when the war ended?
San Diego, California. Now, which war? You talk about Vietnam? Yeah. We also, one of the ships I was on, USS Robinson, back in 1982, we rescued 300 plus Vietnamese refugees off a boat. They were just for a month. They were starving. We brought them on board ship, cleaned them up, took them in, took care of them, got them into port. And after that, we found another 24, and they were in rough waters. And we happened to have some SEAL team members on board. You know what SEAL team members are, don't you? Special Forces, Navy divers, specialists. They just jumped in the water and rescued those people and brought them aboard.
What was your ship's mission in Vietnam?
The ship's mission in Vietnam, we did gunfire support. We do spotters. The Marines, the Army would be over there, and they needed coordinates, stuff like that. We would shoot our weapons, our guns, 5-inch mounts, and they traveled about 5 to 6 miles. We, be working on the enemy. We also did what we call flight operations. We would escort the aircraft carriers. If a plane we would be operating with an excess of 30 miles an hour, which sounds very slow to you, but these are ships that run they're very big. So we would, if the ship plane went down or something, we would rescue the pilots or try to. We also did reconnaissance. We did outline support for. We'd go out 300 or 400 miles and do radar, stuff like that, for ordnance, for the check out the planes and stuff like that. Every ship has its different jobs. My job on board ship was primarily engine room repairman. It sounds like very boring, but you have a car, don't you? The car has an engine and transmission. You take the engine and transmission, how far is the car going to go? Nowhere. We were the engine and transmission. But we have people on board ship that do the electronics. They do the specialists. They do the radar. The community on board a ship is multitude. We have the cooks. We have everybody that on board ship has their jobs. Laundrymen, people who take part of things. Nobody is special. Everybody works. I even worked on laundry equipment. I worked on hot water heaters. I worked on galley equipment. I did all kinds of different things like that. But we all work together. It's what you do on board every ship.
Do you remember any of your instructors?
Yes. My first company commander, my drill instructor, Quartermaster First Class Fondlesby. and all the rest of them I knew sort of, but they sort of 30 years to go different commands, they sort of fade away. I knew a lot of my bosses, my commanders, etc. But see, I went from being down there to becoming one of the instructors. I became a master training specialist on the command and the Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. Then when I retired, when I came out of the Navy, I taught ROTC high school at Cleveland Junior Naval Academy in St. Louis for 18 years.
Were you trained as an engineer initially by the Navy?
Excuse me?
Were you trained as an engineer for the Navy?
Yes. Now, you got to understand, the Navy has different kind of engineers. The former gentleman you talked to back there at the CB is one type of engineer. I was what they call a propulsion engineer. Steam, boilers, air conditioning, refrigeration, hydraulics, those kind of things. And the Navy trained me. The Navy has the best training there is.
Did you go to college before the Navy?
Excuse me?
Did you go to college before the Navy?
No. I went to college during the Navy.
Where were you trained?
I went to boot camp in San Diego, California. That's where I first started my training, and I had training throughout the states.
How did you get home from the war?
My wife picked me up. I don't know. Our ships came in and out, and it's sort of. I don't want to be flippant, but it's. They talk a lot nowadays about deployments, but we did deployments every 6 months. It's like we just did it all the time. My mom and dad picked me up a couple of times.
Did your ship operate independently off Vietnam, or was it part of a team?
Both. We operated in squadrons. There were times that the ship went out and did jobs on its own. We had deployed. They did things that I don't even know what they did. They just went out. We're just the motor. I went where they took me. We dealt with those torpedo ships and everything else. We dealt with the carrier. We dealt with the enemy's small boats and their crafts. But and yes, we shot some down. Did
you come under fire often?
Excuse me?
Did you come under fire a lot?
Not a lot. We came under fire a few times. I remember one especially.
How long were your tours?
Anywhere between 6 to 8 months.
Can you tell me about the time that you came under fire?
Not really, because I was down in engineering spaces, and we were down below the waterline, and the ship was receiving fire. We also returned more fire. We had the bigger guns.
What's your favorite moment in the U.S. military?
I tell you what, that's a hard. I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. My favorite moment was September the 1st, when I retired.
What have you been doing since you retired?
I came out here to St. Louis and taught Navy High School ROTC for 18 years. I was a naval science instructor. I was a teacher for 18 years for St. Louis Public Schools. And I retired out of that. I had cadets about Well, my cadets, they started at 14 years old and went up.
How did you adapt back to society after the Navy?
I'm not sure I have. No. No, the thing is, I was lucky. I retired out of the Navy, came out here to teach. I still wore the uniform, and I still was a civilian, and I was still working for the Navy. And I got involved with the military organization, so there isn't no problem with me adapting. I haven't had any problem whatsoever. I've got a few issues. I have flashbacks and stuff like that, like a lot of other guys do, but it's not a big thing.
What were your typical duties in peacetime?
Teaching. I was a drill instructor one time for 3 years. I taught international service warfare officers again for another 3 years. We did a lot of activities with them. I did mechanic work. I did. You got to understand it. So you went where they sent you. You did what the job was. I even worked one time for 3 years where all the ships had to be demagnetized. They have coils inside of them. As they go from the coast and they go around the world, they had to balance this magnetic field. And what we had to do, sometimes we had to reset it. And that's what we would do, we'd reset it.
Tell me about your tour during the Operation Desert Shield.
Well, we operated off the coast of Oman. That's by the interior to the Iran and Iraq, the entrance to the Arabian Sea. We were a 3-point anchor out there. We had one of the shooters, one of the destroyers would be circling us all the time to protect us because we were a repair ship. They would bring them alongside of us and we would take care of their problems, repair their ships. We would supply power to them and so they could have some time off. We didn't go nowhere. There's no place to go. 13 miles away was Oman, and straight down was about 1.5 miles. So.
How did you feel seeing your family again?
Great. The first time was rather interesting. First time I came home, met with the family. We said our family prayer. My wife had told the kids, you know, give your dad a kiss. They walked over to the TV, took my picture off and kissed it, walked right past me. And then they didn't understand because that's what they've been used to doing. But that all changed over the period of time. That was just sort of an odd time.
How did you end up receiving your commission?
I received my commission on what they call I came up through the ranks and I submitted my applications because what I did and all the work that I did and the background that I did, I received a commission as a Chief Warrant Officer. I jumped 2 ranks and you don't go to school for it. Even though I did go to classes and stuff like that, but I did the same job on board ship. I just moved out of the enlisted chief's quarters to my own stateroom, and I got to eat, a little bit better, maybe, I don't know, but also had a little bit more authority. I could boss more people around. I'm good at bossing people around.
Did you enjoy your time in the military?
Yes and no. There were good times and there were rough times. I mean, I'm serious. It's like life. I mean, I had some great times, enjoyed some of my visits, and great times with the families, etc. But there were times it was hard. Things you had to go through. When you bury somebody that got killed on board ship, that's not good.
Over your 30 years, how did the technology on your ship evolve?
Excuse me?
Over your 30 years, how did the technology on your ship evolve?
Well, they tell you what, they've evolved an awful lot because the ships I was on are all gone now. We have gone from, we only have a few steamships like I was on, a few diesel ships. Nowadays, everything is gas turbine. The 747 planes, they take those same engines and put them inside the ship. And that's the way they operate. Their technology has gotten extremely high. I mean, they're very good. I mean, we have ships now that can go 30 plus knots in water that's only 20 foot deep. The 3-hull ships. I mean, we have ships. The new destroyers that are coming out are like stealth. You've heard about the stealth bombers? We have ships now that are like stealth. I mean, it's a whole different world.
Was it difficult keeping up with technology changes as an engineer?
No, in my period of time, no, because I was teaching it. Now, it would be harder for me because it's a whole different ball game. Ships that I were on had 250 people in the destroyer. They have ships now that are twice the size, only have 200, a little over 200, because they've had all kinds of different technology that they can sit there and do different jobs. And that's a different world. I can't answer that question as far as that is.
Did you ever ride in a submarine?
No, thank goodness. I worked on submarines. I went down inside and worked. But I guess my favorite joke is I didn't want to be on something designed to sink.
So what was one of your hardest missions that you did?
I think one of my biggest challenges was in 1980. I went aboard a ship on a Friday afternoon, San Diego, and had a lot of people have already deserted the ship, went AWOL. The ship had gone through a series of tests and drills and flunked them, and they were due to go to Westpac overseas Western Pacific cruise on Monday. So I got thrown in that pit. I got thrown into that, and we went through things and drills and stuff like that. We got to Pearl Harbor, and we weren't ready. The ship was broken down. I mean, it needed repairs. And the captain of the ship asked me, he said, they're coming down the pier, the inspectors are, what do you think? I said, well, Captain, I was wearing Santa Claus suits. He says, I said, then we're going to flunk. I mean, we need it fixed. This is what I told them. And they said, okay. We went out and did a drill, some drills, and of course we flunked them. They brought us back in, and we spent the next 6 weeks in port getting fixed. And I made my people stay on board ship. The rest of the crew went ashore, enjoyed liberty. My people had to stay on board ship and work, 12 and 12 on, 12 off. And I was working, I'd work 72 hours steady with them. I wanted every time they turned around to look, they could see me. They didn't really know who I was, because I was new. But that was a challenge. But that ship, 3 years later, ended up winning #1 award in engineering. So, I mean, it meant a lot to me. But I had a lot of rough times. But I mean, getting that done was something.
Were you always wanting to have a career in the military?
I'm almost going to say yes, because I figured if I stayed in the first time, I wasn't going to get it out. A lot of guys they'll go and put in one tour and then they get out, which is fine. But the guys that do 2 or 3 tours, go 10 or 12 years and get out, they just gave the military what they wanted. Bye. You're done. No retirement, no nothing. I draw a Navy retirement. I draw a school board retirement. I get Social Security. I get disability. I'm okay.
Did you have a favorite place for shore leaving?
You know, yes, I did, but it varied. I mean, I enjoyed my visits. I had some rough times in Hawaii, but I had some good times in Hawaii. Had some good times in Guam, Squadrons, Philippines, Japan. My last 2 tours overseas, my ship was stationed in Japan, and my wife came over and visited me. We spent a week in Tokyo. Then the ship went from Tokyo to Busan, Korea. She flew there ahead of me. Then the ship went from there to Hong Kong. She flew there. And then the ship went to the Philippines, and she beat me there. And that was good. I mean, and then the other time was back in 88, 89. We was in Pattaya Beach in Hong Kong, Thailand, the old country Siam. But, you know, it was good times. I mean, you got a lot of interesting people. You meet a lot of people, a lot of different kind of foods. By the way, the 2 favorite restaurants in Hong Kong is McDonald's and Burger King. You go to McDonald's in Tokyo, order a Big Mac cake, Big Mac Coke and fries. It's going to cost you about $20. I ordered a 4 pizza tops. It came back with a $150 bill. I just back and start over again. That's but the food over there is good. Different places. And the Kobe beef in Japan, you could take a fork and cut it. Eat it like nothing. You see a lot of poverty over there. Third world countries. You'd think it's poor over here. Over there, I've seen people go through gutters picking up scraps of food to eat with candles trying to find something. Men, women, and kids. Kids your size would jump into the water, and dirty water, just to pick up a coin to get it, because the guys would flip coins into the water and let the kids go jump into it. Filthy water. I'm not going to tell you what the nickname of the river was, but it rhymes with it. It River, okay? But no, this poverty, we have it so well here in the United States. Yeah, we do, son. You have it. You'd be a millionaire over there. What you have, I'm kidding you. It's see, in that part of the world, you got the very rich, you got the very poor. See, we're middle. We're middle here. We have some very poor people here. We have some very rich people. But they drive around in limousines and Cadillacs, and in the gutters picking up food.
Other than Vietnam and Desert Shield, were you deployed during any other conflicts?
Yes, President Kennedy. We had to get underway. We had, of course, Guantanamo Bay, we got underway. Even though we were West Coast, that's an East Coast, the Russian thing. There was a lot of different, we had Grenada, we got underway. I didn't go over there because the ship was headed that way, but my son was. My oldest son was one of the people who took the boats ashore and dropped off the people. But no, that's any conflict, just about. A lot of operations we took part in. I mean, some things I can't even talk about. I'd have to kill you if I told you. No, I'm not that secret.
Have you ever been reunited with any of your veteran friends?
Yes, I belonged. We've had ships reunions on a couple of my ships. I've seen several. Also, the veterans groups, like the gentleman here tonight, they talk to him and I go back a long way. Plus the Marine. But veterans stick together. I'll be real honest with you. The veterans take care of veterans, and it's the thing that if you served, I don't care if you served for 6 months or 30 years, you served. You raised your hand and said, "I give my life for the country." That's what you do.
Did you do a lot of other bad situations in the military?
Not, what do you mean bad?
Were you fighting a lot?
Oh, we had problems. I mean, we had fires on board ship. I lost some shipmates. That's, you got to understand, the Navy sends the Marines out to go fight people. I have been ashore. We went up Saigon River to do gunfire support, and I looked out the top of the ship and go from here, almost to that wall, to the other side of over there, saw the land. And I saw the boats out in front of us picking up these baskets with these little gifts that Charlie was sending down to us. Charlie, that's the enemy, Viet Cong. And they were mines, that was an interesting trip. But I didn't get involved in anything. I just went back down and did my job.
Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome, young man.